Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terri Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haletko. Say hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we're going to get caught up with the West Wing Weekly podcast, finally, with the episode The Two Bartlets, and we're going to go to a dinner party with Master of None. What we're not going to do is talk about the Royal We, which was supposed to bring back our challenge round today, but to nobody's surprise, I'm sure, I have not finished it. I have gotten as far as part 2, and I like it very, very much.
Good.
And it's hard for me not to just not do anything else and sit and read it. Reading something on your phone is great in some ways, but you're always reading like a tiny little portion of the page. So it seems to take a lot longer.
Yeah, you look at the bottom, it says, you've read like 4% of the whole book. Like, what?
Yes. And it also says, like, how many hours are left before you'll be done. So it's like, I read a bunch, and go, oh, I'm doing great. And it goes, 8 hours and 45 minutes left.
No.
In fact, it started out, it said there were like 7 hours left, and then it upgraded to 8 hours. And I'm like, do I read slowly? Is it telling me I'm a slow reader? Is it measuring my pace? I have distractions, man. Come on.
It's not my fault.
It's so much pressure. But I am enjoying it very much. It is very good, and I'm happy you're making me read it. So possibly next week.
All right.
It will be done if I have a light week of work. It could happen. Anyway, so it's okay because Catherine watched a movie, and now we have time to talk about it.
That's right.
You're welcome. So what did you see, and how did you like it?
I saw Wonder Woman with my daughter. We did a mother-daughter movie outing.
Nice.
Because
female empowerment.
Yeah, for once she was not out with her friends. And we went, and we had a lot of fun. I laughed because we went to the recliner theater, where they have the big chairs and the recliners and stuff.
Yes.
And the people next to it, and they're also reserved, so you have to pick your seat in advance.
Wow.
I know, it's a kind of pressure. But we were able to get tickets like an hour before, so it was fine.
Uh-huh. Nice.
But the people next to us brought a blanket. Like, wow, that's kind of a good idea. And she said, you told me that would be weird. Like, one other time I was going to the recliner theater, and I said I was going to bring a blanket, and you said that would be weird. And I have no memory of this at all, because I was like, that sounds smart. When I sort of wished for a blanket.
If I paid money to go to the recliner theater, and I reclined and I put a blanket over me, I would be asleep in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I would have wasted my money. So probably just as well.
It would be hard.
I might not even need the blanket.
To fall asleep during this particular movie because it was action-packed and loud. So,
Do they have the rumbling in your seats a little bit? So
it wasn't like the 4D where you get spritzed with water and
That's right.
No.
That might come in handy for some of us.
No, it wasn't like that, but it was a lot of fun. It's been getting great reviews, and I thought, that it was a really good superhero movie, and it didn't strike me as super different or unique or special as a superhero movie, except for the fact that it was a woman in the lead, which was awesome, and she was fantastic. I mean, the character and the actress were both really great, and it was just fun to see her just kicking butt all the time. But
nice.
I might have been expecting more. I don't know. But, all these reviews are just about how fantastic it was. And I was like, yeah, it was really good. But it was a superhero movie for sure, Yeah,
you expected it to transcend that in some way?
I guess I thought it might. And it didn't, especially. But, I certainly enjoyed it. And they did a great job with introducing the character, right? So this was, I think Gal Gadot has been Wonder Woman in some other movies.
Has she?
But where she's only been in, a little bit. this one obviously was her movie, her story, her origin, everything. So they kind of had fun with the fact that, you know, she grew up on this island with all the Amazons and they had no contact with the outside world. So when she does come in, you know, get taken to London and you know, start to learn about the real world. Right. You know, it's this kind of funny combination of total innocence and being like, well, this is dumb. Like, why would you do that? That's stupid. So that was kind of fun, having fun with her doing that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did your daughter like it?
She loved it. Yeah. She was.
Oh, good.
She was like fired up afterward. So, yeah, we had fun with it. So.
Nice. Does it end in such a way that we can expect more of these?
Yes. I mean, like all comic book and superhero movies, there's always room for more stories about that person. And it's framed a little bit so that at the very beginning it's present day and there she is. And then it flashes back to when she's a little girl and then to when she first leaves the island, and that the main action happens during World War I. But she obviously doesn't age because she comes, when you see her at the beginning of the movie and it's the present day, she looks exactly the same as, you know, because she's an Amazon, or she's not human. So she doesn't get any older. So, and like Robin Wright is in it, and Brigitte Nielsen, and Chris Pine obviously plays the main other guy, and so it was a lot of fun.
Well, good. Keeping up with pop culture, aren't you?
Yeah, look at me.
There you are.
Look at me going to the movie.
Reclining chairs. Yes. I'll go see the superhero movie, but I want to put my feet up. There's certain rules.
And also, this theater has like really good ice cream. We actually didn't get any because we were surprisingly not hungry, but you can get like a really nice milkshake to go to sit in your recliner chair with.
Do they bring it to you? Is it like
no? It's not like that kind of a place. Or? No. But I mean, I saw. I think it was Hidden Figures. I saw there with my son, and you know, you're in the recliner with a giant ice cream milkshake, and it's like you're in WALL-E, you know. They had those chairs that they just live in those chairs, and they have their drinks. That's like the only food that they eat. So there's a danger of that.
So is it really pricey to go to the recliner theater?
No,
more so than a regular theater.
No, it's about the same.
Oh wow, that sounds comfy.
It's comfy.
But again, I would worry.
You have to,
even with a loud superhero movie. I am able to sleep in inappropriate places. Yes. Very easily these days.
Could be a problem.
It's good not to be too comfortable.
Right. Could be a problem.
Well, I'm glad you liked that and reported in on that. That's something I probably will not be going to see, but I hear good things about it, and I wish it well, as I do with so much pop culture. Not going to see you. Hope you do well. But, moving on to another piece of pop culture we've consumed. We watched Master of None. Which number episode is this?
I think it was number 5.
5, okay. This one was called The Dinner Party. And I enjoyed this one somewhat less than the last couple.
Okay.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it. It, again, like flew by for me, except for the very last scene, which was, you know, deliberately extended.
Yes, that was very nice.
Very nice. And I liked that. I mean, he just conveyed so much without any words in that scene, and it just made you want to cry for poor Deb. Yeah. Poor lovelorn Deb.
Yeah. It was very hard for me, though, not to fast forward through the terrible date.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
I mean, I know it was supposed to be painful, but, you know, unlike Deb, I don't have to sit through it if I don't want to. And it was just like, oh my gosh, can I skip through this? I know where this is going, which is nowhere.
Good, that's for sure. Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Many conversations about water. About whether you like still water or sparkling water.
Yes, and I've had conversations like that where both of you realize this is going nowhere, but you just have to kind of keep coming up with things to talk about. Just because.
Yeah.
So that was, it was the last two episodes I think were fairly focused, and this one seemed to have a lot of parts.
Yes, true. You had the whole Bobby Cannavale being this super chef guy, and you had the friend visiting from Italy, and you had the weirdo dance troupe.
Yeah, that whole thing is, okay. So maybe that was it. Maybe it was just it was, I guess, maybe more conventionally sitcom-y, I don't know, with all the different parts, although it wasn't really a from here to there sort of thing.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I liked the scenes at the party where he was with his the friend from Italy, and then that long car ride home. Trying to decide what to do, or feeling
really like stuck,
really,
and like this is bad, and there's no way to make it better. Was sort of how he felt.
Yes, yeah, that was excellent. I really liked that, and I did not mind that went on for a time. That whole part of it I liked from the party on. The parts before. It's like, still 20 minutes to go in this episode. Moving along.
Hurry up.
And the Cupcake Wars, all the bit with the producer was, I thought, kind of painful. Mm-hmm. Those jokes were not working.
Yeah. And I think next week might be the one that, like, Dev might not even be in it, but it's just stories of random people in New York.
I believe so, from what I've heard of that one. That is, I think, the next one. So that should be interesting.
I think that will be good.
And I mean, this doesn't make me want to stop watching them, but after the the first one I was kind of meh, and then I liked the next few, I guess, and this one was kind of meh again. So even though there's parts of it I liked a lot, parts of it, the tone was different, like with each little part,
and maybe too much with the tone. It's too much. Too many different tones or something happening.
Yeah, I think so. And definitely the date was... Ouch. I mean, I understand why they went through as much of it as they did, but I really wanted to...
You just wanted to skip to, like, him telling his friend in the park, like, it was terrible. Or, like maybe they could have just done it a different way.
Yeah. I don't know. But I will continue watching, and looking forward to next week's. And then we also watched an episode of The West Wing, is our way. And this one was called The Two Bartlets, and it's sort of the beginning of we're sort of getting into the election cycle. Mm-hmm. And I think they've talked before about, I don't know if they've used the Uncle Fluffy thing before. He's either, sometimes he's really sharp and sometimes he's trying to be people-pleasing.
Yeah.
And the whole thing it reminded me when Toby was watching him on the monitor and he gave that completely softball answer to the question. It was reminding me the first time I guess it was the first time Josh saw him, when he was in that, speaking at that dinner in, I don't know where it was, and gave that really long, complicated, and ultimately negative answer to a question.
Right. And
how that kind of made everybody feel this is our guy. Mm-hmm. And now he's not.
Right.
That guy. So Toby is on it.
He's not. They're not letting Bartlett be Bartlett, or Bartlett is not letting Bartlett be Bartlett.
Bartlett is not letting Bartlett be Bartlett. That is exactly the problem. Right. And so, is it going to be, on any given time, is it going to be Bartlett or is it going to be Uncle Fluffy? So, that is something that will go on for a little bit into the election cycle. And it's also mentioning Richie, who is going to be
the opponent.
As I think they made it clear, he will be the opponent. And so...
And it's a be careful what you wish for type of situation.
Yes, it is exactly a be careful what you wish for type of situation. But there's also a little movement on the Amy and Josh front.
Yeah.
And that very cute episode at the beginning where I think, as they were saying on the podcast, you know what's going to happen with the phone call.
Right.
You see it coming. And yet it is still delightful. He thinks
he's talking to Amy, and we're like, of course that's not Amy, and it's Leo. And not only is it Leo, but Margaret's sitting
yes,
there.
Margaret is just the cherry on top of that.
Margaret. Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, that's quite wonderful. That makes that whole scene. But the rest of it is very cute, too. And I don't think I've ever actually fished coffee grounds out of the trash, but I have reused them when they should not have been reused. So I'm feeling Josh in that bit. Right. And his over large pajamas from CJ.
Yeah.
But that's I like the way they work through that whole situation where, he makes the grand, first he's a little put off that she turned down the guy's proposal, and then he makes the grand gesture, and then he has to take it back, and he finds a way to turn it on her, and then he does the incredibly sweet thing at the end. That was a nice progression of stuff.
And also that she gave him the out to blame it on Leo, and he didn't.
Right. So that was...
I thought that was mature of him.
Yes. But still,
which we don't see that much of.
Yes. Yes. But also makes it worse in that he is choosing to not do it.
Right.
To not go with her.
Right.
Which he then sort of makes a thing out of. Mm-hmm. But the thing at the end is very sweet, even though I'm pretty sure Donna strung up those lights. But still.
Well, she did. She was the one who told Amy to go over there.
Amy to go there.
Yes.
Yes, that is a very sweet ending to that episode. Yes. To their storyline, not to the episode,
right?
Because the actual ending of the episode is not sweet at all.
No, I mean, but I still love it. That was crazy. Like, I was very surprised when Toby just started saying, "Did your father hit you?" to the president. I'm like, what are you doing? Whoa.
Yes. Not only Bartlett saying you crossed a line there, everybody is going, what?
Where did that come from? Yeah. That was...
Yeah. Tense conversation. I like how Toby kind of skedaddles out of there at the end.
Yeah, he better.
Yeah. But, in the bit where he goes to talk to him and Charlie asks and he hears the president say no, he doesn't want to talk to him. And he's like, oh, okay, all right. But then what an uncomfortable conversation. And probably nobody but Toby could have that conversation with him.
Yeah.
And I know he felt that somebody had to, but...
I'm not sure why somebody had to. I don't know.
Well, because I think Toby feels that he's not going to be able to win if he doesn't sharpen up. And so what is the deal with that? And from what we've seen in the, the Two Cathedrals, he's pretty much right. Yeah. Apparently he saw that episode. He was like, this is why. I'm going to have a chat with the president about that some night.
I'll just file that away for future awkward conversation that I'm going to have with my boss, who's the president of the United States.
Yes. So, and then also sort of introduced here is CJ's dad being not too great. And there will be... I think the episode is this. There's an episode this season, or maybe the beginning of next, where she goes to visit him, and pretty much the entire episode is not in the White House, which is weird. But I don't know if it's this season or next season. But yeah, so that will be more and more painful and sad.
Yeah, I mean, just that phone conversation was so sad.
Oh, yeah.
I did find it a little bit, when she starts talking about affirmative action and her dad, and she said, every time he would have been promoted or whatever, there was some Black woman who got it instead. And I thought in the 60s and 70s, like when her dad would have been a young teacher, and I don't know. I think that may have been a kind of an anachronism. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, he wouldn't have been necessarily, might have been when he was a little older and trying to advance, not necessarily when he was starting out, but when he was at a point where he was
trying to get
would have been a principal or a superintendent, getting to that level. But it probably doesn't bear a lot of scrutiny. But I do sort of like the idea that sometimes, our personal narratives color the way we feel on political things, to a point where somebody who you would expect to be for something will have a hard time with it because because we're not all, we don't all fit in boxes. And
and she
happen in your life, and it colors your.
She acknowledges that this is I know I'm not being a good Democrat or whatever she says, that you're talking to the wrong Democrat. She kind of knows that, I know this isn't the way I'm supposed to feel about this based on my other political stances, but.
Yes. But emotionally.
And if her dad wasn't,
and they were talking,
ill, then she might have a different perspective also.
Right. That is incredibly hard, having to deal with that, especially since, she has a job where she's not able to be around a whole lot, and having to, just check in with him from time to time and be at a distance and not. Right. So that is very hard. And as they were talking about on the West Wing Weekly podcast, her, Allison Janney's acting in that phone call where, you completely hear him in your head on the other side. Yes. And yet she's creating that all just from her facial expressions and
how you're frustrated, but you're also sad, and you're also scared, and you're trying to be sympathetic and polite or whatever it is, but it's just so hard. So that was just all so well communicated in such a economical way. So that was excellent. So, and Sam had his Sam's plot was with the UFO guy back again. But nice that he kind of threw him a bone. Right. Yeah.
I inherited the family business.
Yeah. He handled him with more sensitivity than he started with, kind of.
Exactly.
He got a little better.
Sort of, so that was... Rob Lowe is once again on light subplot patrol.
Yes. Comic relief.
We gave you 100,000 airplanes, man. And now you're back talking to the UFO guy.
Enjoy that for now. Yes.
Well, anything else you want to say about that?
Well, then on the podcast, they had the prop person. So that was fun and interesting just to hear more behind the scenes stuff about how she would research the props that she used and where you get them and all that fun stuff. So that's the kind of
it seems like that would be a really fun job.
Yeah. Except for when you're like chasing all over Los Angeles for some silly little,
I guess.
Like you have to be a kind of a compulsive person, I think, because so much of it, hardly anyone will notice, but you still want to make sure that it's authentic. So,
yeah.
But doing the research would be interesting.
Right. And then you send an assistant to go and run around.
And of course, this was mostly internet. So, I mean, there was internet, but for sure, I don't think that you could find nearly as much information and goods online at that time as you could now.
Right.
It's like back when I was a young editorial assistant and we had no internet and we would call up the New York Public Library referenced us and asked them questions. They were the internet.
Did you use like LexisNexis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember those days.
But we didn't have. We had to like call up, some operator. We didn't have it where we could. We had a terminal. Like we had to call some person and be like, I'm looking for an article about XYZ and like try to explain what you're looking for. And then they would send you like a printout of options. And then you would say, okay, I want this one, and this one. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I worked in a magazine where they actually did have the terminal, but it was probably a little later than what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I was on the copy editing end of things, working on a Mac, and so I didn't really have that much to do with it. But I remember it being where you would go to get information about things, and it's like, wow. You think back on that now, and it's not really even all that long ago.
No. It's really not.
We've proceeded from the place where you had to go through those hoops to get information to where all information was at your fingertips to where now I still can't find things that I want to find. I know it's on the internet somewhere.
Hose. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I know it's there. It's just too much.
Find it for me, please.
Yes. I wish there was somebody I could call now.
Yeah, I would have like long conversations with those ladies. I remember. Like you'd have your same person that you'd call every time.
Wow. Those were the days, kids.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Well, for next week, as we have, just to sum up what we've been saying all along here, next week we'll watch the Master of None episode, New York, I Love You. We will watch the West Wing episode, Night 5, which is quite wonderful. And will we talk about the Royal We? It's possible.
Stay tuned.
Could happen. I have about 8 hours of reading, according to my phone. It doesn't seem to be going down. I keep reading it. It's still telling me it's 8 hours. So I don't know. It's. I think it's snarking me.
Look at just focus on the percentage, maybe instead of
21%. I'm at about 21%. Okay. So it could happen. Yeah. I would like to. I would like to sit down and just do nothing for the next couple of days, but read. But that sounds wonderful. It does. It doesn't. I used to. Just like take a weekend and lay down on the couch and read a book or more than one book. It was so delightful.
Well, I'm down a kid for the next week, so
that's
my
right.
workload is reduced.
Well, read bunches of stuff, so if I don't finish the book, you could talk about something else.
Yeah, there we go. Sounds good.
And we will say that is going to be it for our round 2 this week. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes, including our daily speed rounds and weekly group chats. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terri.
Goodbye, everybody.